Apple just quietly flipped the script on how they launch iPhones. And if you're planning to upgrade this year and or even thinking about it, you need to hear these 13 leaks before you make any decisions because some of these changes are genuinely the biggest Apple has made in years. And one of them, nobody is really talking about the full implication yet. We'll get there. We are 5 months out from Apple's September event. The iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are coming. The leaks are stacking up fast from Mark Gurman, Ming-Chi Kuo, Ice Universe, Instant Digital. The heavy hitters are all talking. So let's go through every confirmed leak and actually break down what it means for you, not just list specs. Let's start with the biggest structural change Apple has ever made to how they release iPhones this September. You're only getting two new phones, the iPhone 18 Pro and the Pro Max. That's it. No base model, no Air. The standard iPhone 18 doesn't arrive until spring 2027. Now I know what you're thinking. Where's the foldable? The iPhone Fold is reportedly also getting announced in September, but it might not actually ship until December. So Apple's essentially doing a movie trailer drop in the fall and a wide release later. What this means for you, if you were waiting to see the full lineup before deciding, Apple is taking that option away. They want you buying Pro. And honestly, given what's in these leaks, that strategy might actually work. Leak number 2. The dynamic island is shrinking. Multiple sources, including Mark Gurman, have confirmed it. We're talking about the pill getting noticeably smaller. Yeah, roughly 65% of the width of the current one. The reason Apple is moving the infrared camera component of Face ID under the display glass, so part of Face ID is now hidden beneath the screen itself. And here's what's interesting about that. Moving the dot projector and the IR scanner further apart could actually improve Face ID accuracy. More spatial separation means better depth mapping. So Apple is making the notch smaller and potentially making Face ID faster and more secure at the same time. The visual result is a much cleaner front face. If you've ever looked at your iPhone 17 Pro and thought the dynamic island felt slightly too wide, and this fixes that. It genuinely looks more modern in the leaked mock-ups. Okay, this is the one I'm most excited about. And I think most people are underselling it. The 48 megapixel main camera is getting a variable aperture lens, first time ever on an iPhone. This was confirmed by Ming-Chi Kuo, who has one of the best track records in Apple leaks. What this means in plain English, the lens can physically open and close its aperture on the fly. In a dark room or a dimly lit restaurant, the aperture opens wide, more light in, more natural blur. In harsh, bright sunlight, it closes down. This eliminates the weird exposure glitches and overblown highlights you get when you're shooting in very bright conditions. You know that shimmer effect when you pan fast in daylight? Gone. This is a feature that has existed in cinema cameras and high-end DSLRs for decades. Apple is putting it in a phone for the first time. And that's actually significant, not just as a spec, for creators, for photographers, for people who actually care about what their photos look like. This changes the ceiling on what a phone camera can do. Oh, and the telephoto camera is also expected to get a zoom teleconverter, letting it shift between different true optical zoom ranges dynamically. Better optical zoom without sacrificing aperture. Both cameras getting smarter at the same time. The iPhone 18 Pro is getting the A20 Pro chip, built on TSMC's 2 nanometer process. This is the same node Apple used in the M5 for the MacBook Pro, and it's legitimately faster and more efficient than anything they've shipped in an iPhone before. Leaks suggest we could be looking at 15 to 30% better power efficiency compared to the A19 Pro. But here's where the speculation gets interesting. There are reports that Apple may redesign the CPU core layout for the first time in years, borrowing the supercore concept from the M5. One ultra-high performance core, 3 new mid-cores, and 4 efficiency cores, an 8-core layout instead of the current 6-core. Now, that part is still speculation. What's not speculation is the 2 nanometer process itself and the new packaging that makes the chip smaller, denser, and more power efficient than ever. The A20 Pro is going to be fast. The real question is whether the rest of the phone can keep up with it. Based on these leaks, it can. This next segment doesn't get enough attention in iPhone leak videos because everyone talks about the camera and the chip. But the battery, the modem, and the connectivity stack are where you actually feel the difference day to day. Battery first, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is reportedly getting a 5,100 to 5,200 milliamp hour cell, up from the 17 Pro Max's 5,088 milliamp hours. Not a massive jump on paper. But here's the thing, pair a slightly bigger battery with a 2 nanometer chip that's 15 to 30% more efficient, and you could realistically be looking at 40 plus hours of mixed use, potentially a day and a half to 2 days of heavy use. That's not a spec. That's a lifestyle change. Now, the modem. Apple is ditching Qualcomm. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected to be the first to use Apple's own C2 modem. And the big deal here isn't just that it's in-house. The C2 is reportedly the first Apple modem to support millimeter wave 5G. That's the fast kind, or the kind that actually delivers multi-gigabit speeds. Previous Apple modems didn't support it. Qualcomm ones did. Apple is now closing that gap with their own silicon. And on top of standard 5G, the C2 modem is expected to support direct satellite 5G connectivity, not just the SOS texts you can send out, full 5G service through a satellite. So, if you're somewhere with no tower coverage, think mountain camping, remote highways, coastal areas with no signal, this could actually be functional cellular service. That is wild. A few quicker ones, but don't skip these. The selfie camera is getting upgraded from 18 to 24 megapixels. Same square sensor, which means you still get that trick where turning the phone horizontal gives you a wider selfie shot. That feature is genuinely underrated. 24 megapixels means sharper video calls, better stills, more detail for portrait mode. The camera control button, that swipe gesture feature on the side, is reportedly getting simplified. The capacitive layer is being removed, leaving only pressure sensing. No more accidentally swiping when someone hands you their phone to take a photo. If you've ever ruined someone's camera settings by accidentally hitting that button, and I know you have, this is your fix. Colors, deep red, which may lean more burgundy, and coffee brown are the leading rumors from Mark Gurman and multiple sources. And just so you know, no black option again, which is wild to me. But here we are, weight and thickness. The Pro Max is expected to push past 240 grams and measure 8.8 millimeters thick, slightly heavier, slightly thicker. If that trade-off means the battery life I just described, but I think most people will take it without argument. So, is the iPhone 18 Pro Max worth upgrading to? If you're on an iPhone 15 Pro or older, yes, not even a close call. Variable aperture camera, a 20 Pro chip on 2 nanometer, Apple's own modem with millimeter wave 5G and satellite connectivity, a noticeably smaller dynamic island, and a bigger battery. That's a generational jump on almost every front. If you're on a 16 Pro or 17 Pro, it depends on what you care about. The camera changes are real and meaningful. The chip is legitimately faster, but if nothing in your current phone is frustrating you, waiting for the 19 Pro next year is totally defensible. Here's the one thing I'll say though. Apple is making a deliberate choice this year to give you no budget option in September. They want you at the Pro tier, and judging by these leaks, they built the product to back that decision up. The question I keep thinking about, does a variable aperture on a phone finally close the gap between phone photography and real cameras? I honestly don't know yet. but I'm very curious to find out. Let me know where you land on that down in the Comcatch U next video piece.